Hello everybody, welcome to my little live here. Wanted to show you a El Cheapo, supposedly 5K, but I don't know if they can really achieve it, camera today. This camera was $169 with a $40 discount on Amazon, so coming in I think $125 or somewhere in that ballpark. This camera does a good job for this type of thing that you're looking at right now. I'm actually using a real cheap 4K camera right now, is what you're looking at me on. It's like an $80 camera, and I'll show you, but however, it's got a lot of quirks, so I'm going to go ahead and send it back. I'm just looking for a backup camera. I do have a much better camera here. Let's see, we'll get the right control here. If you compare it to like my Sony cameras, there's just literally no comparison at all. Let me just zoom in with the Sony here. Even something, you know, we're 3 foot away approximately. Now we're probably closer to 2 foot. Let me raise it up, and I'm going to go way on back here. You know, this gives you an idea of what an $800 Sony camera will do versus one of these cheap ones. And hopefully I can show you the zoom. You got a little bit of grain there, but man almighty, I mean, that compared, you know, look at the size of my finger here at 3 foot away. I mean, so, and the zoom on this thing goes, I don't even know how far it goes in, 60, 54, something like that. I've looked at the moon with it before, and looks pretty cool. Took us out and played with it for a little bit. It does come with quite a few goodies here in the bottom. And I am using the old faithful, well, new faithful to me, blue snowball microphone. In the box here, you have your manual. The first part's in English, and it comes in some other languages. Give you some idea. Again, this is, you know, I'm shooting pictures of this with my Sony at several feet away, and gives you some idea of what a actual Sony camera will do. However, my Sony does have some downfalls. It don't have it's an older one. The newer ones probably have a remote, so I have to use this to run the PTZ, pan, tilt, zoom, and this one to add on to run the camera for my zoom, record, and so on. One of the nice features on this 5K camera is it did a very nice remote. Very surprised at the quality of that remote. And it does seem to work very well. So anyways, that'll give you some idea on the manual. You also get a separate little manual for the microphone with that one. And I've already opened this stuff, but I took it all back apart to show you. So you get a little lens cover here. Nothing to write home about, just some thin plastic lens shade, I should say. And this piece here goes on to the front there. Gotta love the lives. Great opportunity to make an ass of myself here. Okay, so that screws on like so. And then this piece would screw into that. You can see there's a little threaded part there. And this thing can be a little squirrely to get it started, just because of the, right on that time. First time I did that, I had a heck of a time getting the threads to start. So anyways, so you end up with something like this. You also get a handle for the camera. which I really doubt that I'll use the handle at all. One thing I like to have my tripod release, whatever, added to them on my cameras at all times. Okay, this nut, if you chose to use it, would go in between right here. I don't think I need it. That's not going anywhere. So, okay, it did have a lens cap on the camera when I first got it. I took it off because it doesn't work with the shader. However, this happens to work on my other cameras because you can squeeze it in and it kind of clamps into the lens. Okay. You do get an extra battery. And these look to be, I'm not sure what the amp hours or anything on these. Let's see if it says on this. It says made in China, and that's about it. Oh, well, it's actually on the back here. Tiny, 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 tiny. Okay, I'll have to look at that on the big screen. I'm looking at a tiny little monitor here, so I'll have to take a look at that later and see if you can actually see that. Anyways, you get an extra battery. You also get an HDMI cable. And that looks like about it. And a whole lot of plastic to throw away. So this shoe does not come with the camera. But I like to have them on the cameras, and that way I can pop them right onto my tripods. I'm trying to make sure all my tripods take the same one. So anyways, there you have it there. Now if you was to put the handle on, which I don't know, I really don't know what the need for the handle is. I guess if you're doing a lot of walking and stuff and different ways to hold it to be smoother, might help you out there. I've never used one. Doubt I'll use this one. We'll see. I'll try it and see if it actually seems like it helps me at all. Okay, so if you open the lens on the camera, you get a little welcome there. I'm going to set the box in front of it. See if we can block it out that way. Okay, so I'm using the remote here to operate this. I got my zoom, which I can see it actually working on the picture on the box. Okay, looks like you have to push the button for every increment of the zoom. You can't just hold it and have it zoom in. Well, I guess you can. You just have to hold it for a few seconds before it does that. Okay, then we also have a menu button here. So you have a resolution, and we'll take a look at those. So you have 5K, 4K at 30 frames per second, clear down to 720. And honestly, I shoot everything in 1080p pretty much anyways, because when you put it on YouTube, they just break it down to like a 7, I don't know, they don't show, it's not in high definition. And maybe I'm doing the wrong thing there and there's something I don't know. So anyways, you got your resolution. Now let's see if we can get back out of here. Okay, so I press the menu key again to get back to the main part of the menu. You got image stabilization on, and this thing did a really good job on the stabilization. And I'll see if we can find a clip, see if I can play a clip of that. So that looks like about it there. Now let's see, how do we get over to settings? By the way, this is a touch screen, so let's see if I can. Okay, so now we're in settings. And I don't know if the remote works or yeah, it still does. So you got your Wi-Fi connection. And when you hit that, let's turn that on. It gives you a username and password. Metering, I don't know really what that does. It must be for bandwidth, for... Yeah, I'm going to need to read up on that right there because I do not know what that does. Then we have your white balance, which really is helpful when you got somebody standing in front of a window. Time and date stamp, which I really don't use on my cameras because I get tired of resetting the clocks on them. And automatic power off, which I prefer to keep off on all of my equipment because there's nothing more annoying than something turning itself off while you're trying to use it. I took this thing out, shot a little bit of footage with it, and I'm fairly impressed. I mean, this thing is really pretty decent. I mean, it doesn't even compare to the picture quality on my Sony. The fact that I have the remote, the zoom, I can remotely record, I can remotely take a picture. You know, you can play it back on your TV, obviously, and use the remote to do that. This does have on the memory card, I was getting ready to say, it has the big old style card that I haven't seen for a while. It doesn't come with this, so you'll have to have a SD adapter to put your SD card in the camera. So that's the camera on Amazon right there. And I haven't tried any of my remote mics on this yet to see what happens with that. But we do have another one. This one that is on me now. This is a 4K, and I want to show you which one that one was that I bought on Amazon. It's plugged in, and for some reason when you plug a USB in, it makes a popping noise. The picture quality is actually fair, and the zoom is actually better than this 5K camera that we're playing with right now. Overall, for a beginner, for a second camera, it's pretty good. Now the zoom, I can tell you, is horrible on this camera. When you zoom in, I tried it on 1080p and 5K, 30 frames, 60 frames. The zoom is super grainy, super bad. This camera, if you need to zoom in to objects far away, this is not going to be the camera for you. This camera, for close-up pictures, seems to do a very nice job. And by close-up, I'm going to say, you know, up to 25 feet or so. You start getting beyond that where you need to zoom to get detail on it. Like I said, it just gets grainy. You can do about half zoom on it. It's not too bad, but again, it's not a good camera for zooming. Let's see if we can get one of these things to play here. Okay, this is the 5K camera, and I'm walking along. This thing does seem to have fairly decent image stabilization. We'll see when I play it back if it's shaking around, but it looks pretty smooth on the little screen. Let's go see if we can find us a fish. This is a creek in Hillsboro, Ohio. But it flows from Hillsboro clear to Rocky Fork Lake. So we're just going to walk along here for a minute. Maybe walk down toward the dam. And I could definitely be a rock collecting person. Check out some of these rocks. We'll see how the close-up looks. That's as far in as it goes. I wanted to bring a black light down here sometime from some of the other videos I've seen and see if there's any rocks that glow under the black light like they showed. I can't think of the right names for them. Well, that one's unusual. And I wonder if it came off of that one at one time. Interesting. Let's look closer. Look how similar those are shaped. Far away shots. There's a bird flying over. He doesn't even show up on the little screen. We got one whistling us a pretty little song. She's somewhere in these trees right there, if I didn't scare her out. There's some bluegills in here, and one time several years ago I had a bunch of catfish and I got in a predicament where I couldn't clean them, and I put some catfish in here that were probably 10 pounds, probably a dozen. I know I'm probably not supposed to do that, but I hated for them to go to waste. And this flows right back into the lake they came out of. So technically I put them back in the same water. And if you go on down, there's a dam down there. Let's try to zoom again. It looks like the zoom is real smooth, but and I'm only shooting at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So I'm gonna shut it off and take it up to 5K and see what that looks like in comparison. Okay guys, now we're in 5K, 30 frames per second. So we'll see how this looks. Well, you'd think it'd be the opposite. I can see the screen when the sun's at my back, but when I'm looking toward the sun, I can't. The whiteout gets me. Okay, let's get over here and we'll find some rocks and do some close-ups on the rocks. Let's do another zoom while we're walking to see how stable it is zoomed in, moving. Not very. Halfway zoomed. It's not too bad. And let's get back over here. Find a nice sunny spot where we can look at some rocks. Let's zoom in and see what we see here. Again, this is a 5K, 30 frames per second. And I hope I'm getting audio. I'm unsure about the settings on that mic. I didn't realize there was like 4 different positions and combinations of those positions. See if we can find one really cool rock here before we leave. Check that one out. There it is. Maybe a fossil. And then here we have one that is perfectly rounded. See if I can zoom out here. Do you think that was a dinosaur egg or something? Wow, that is crazy. That is as round as they get. And oh, over here, check this one out. It's sparkly. Maybe it is a quartz. See if I can get in try the 5K close up on it. Try just going in close at the camera. And then the close up. Okay, I think we got what we need there, guys. Okay, guys, we just got to get a little 5K highway footage here. We're at 5K, 30 frames per second. Try to get the camera where it doesn't shake so much. It is shaking from the car, so there we go. That might be a little better. Should be interesting to see how this looks. We're going to zoom in about 50% of the way here. We'll make this corner. Oops, camera flipped it. Alright, that should give us what we need. Hey guys, driving back home here. Thought I'd turn the camera on the dash and see what my face looks like on 5K. If it's truly 5K, probably not. This is such a cheap camera, but I gotta say I'm not terribly disappointed with it at this point. You know, I have $800 plus, shoot, probably more than that, Sony cameras. So we're going to see how it stacks up against them. I got to do my short from Arby's Daily Turkey Ranch Bacon Sandwich. There you have it, the cheap 5K camera. I think I'm going to hang on to this. I will use it. It can't be any worse than the thing that you're looking at now, which actually this 4K does a good picture quality, but it has a lot of other issues. So I don't recommend buying, and I'll show you again which one I bought. I do not recommend buying this camera. That is the camera right there. It's an $80 camera. Again, the picture quality, just sitting here doing it like this, is not very bad. But it's got a clicking noise. I had difficulty getting it to take the SD card. Display goes off when you're trying to use it with like OBS Studio. Like right now I have no display on the camera, which I like to have. I'd actually written up a complete review on it. If you go on Amazon, you'll be able to see the review. There was probably at least 6 or 8 issues with it. One thing I did like about that camera though, and actually I might just keep it for this, is this has a remote mic that comes with it. And I'm telling you what, that remote mic, it's just a little dongle plug there and the mic, and that thing worked really well. It also came with a 32 gig SD card. Actually, with all that taken into consideration, I might just keep it just for that and the SD card, and it still will work for a backup camera to use like I'm using right now. You guys have a good day. Hopefully I didn't make too big a fool of myself on this live. If you'd like to see more of these videos, please like and subscribe. You will help me out tremendously, and I'll be eternally grateful to you.